Hello, good evening. Can you see me? Everybody, can you see me? Monica, Prab,
Yes.
Sudha, Sohail, Deepak. All right,
Yes.
thank you
Yes.
so much for coming,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Welcome and welcome to Leadtecno's data analysis webinar session today. This is a free webinar, and I welcome everybody over here. And if you guys are here, I'm pretty sure this is very important for you. So welcome again, and welcome Mr. Avesh. He's the lead consultant for data analyst portfolio, and he's the trainer. Hello, good evening, Avesh. How are you?
Good evening, Sudhish. I'm fine. How's everyone? Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Evening.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And before we start the session today, just want to ask you just a couple of questions here. Okay, we have Parita logging in, Amritpal logging in. Okay, we can start. I think it's ideal to start. Let me share my screen and we can start here. So guys, I'm going to introduce myself and then we will introduce our company. And then I know guys are logging in from US and Canada, and then we will take it from there. So this is regarding data analyst career. So in this webinar, you're going to really looking to learn about how to move into a data analyst career and what tools are required and how to go about it. And this is for the month of April cohort. We have done many other trainings before. My name is Sudesh Anand. I am the founder and CEO of Leadtecno Staffing and Training Services. We founded this company in 2016. I'm also an IT consultant. I work in guideware technology as a systems analyst, and I also run this company as an entrepreneur. All right, guys, please mute yourself. All right, and I will set the agenda for today. So we work in both an IT and non-IT jobs. On the IT side, I'm going to tell you what are the things we do. On the non-IT sides, I also deal with healthcare and insurance sectors too, jobs. The sectors we deal with is banking, telecom, insurance, healthcare, both in US and Canada. And we have expertise in tech and insurance domain. And now we are going into healthcare too. Our offices are located in Toronto, Alberta, and Chantilly, Virginia, US. And we cater US counterparts too. This is a Toronto-based company. And just to do a little bit about you, this is an IT staffing services and a training company. And occasionally we give consulting services also. We are still looking to grow in that area. Right now, we are more into staffing services and training. We work with various vendors across US and Canada, and we source them, consultants for the projects, and we also train people. If you see, there are careers here like few careers here like cloud data engineering, cloud DevOps engineering, cloud engineering, certified cloud administrator, data science, which also comes under data analytics, cybersecurity, ServiceNow business analysis. This is all the trending careers right now, and we specialize in two areas in on the data side. One is data analytics, another one is cloud data engineering. Usually the folks who get trained through us in data analytics, they come back to us and they will learn cloud data engineering, and we only train on the technologies which are in demand. So when you're a cloud, we only deal with Azure cloud engineering. We don't do AWS because Azure is picking up, GCP is picking up, so we do in that area. So this is about us. So today we're going to have an agenda where we're going to introduce the trainer, and then we're going to talk about the data analyst career. We're going to talk about the scope of this career. We're going to talk about the training module, and we're going to talk a little bit about the training and placement services, and then we're going to have a Q&A. All right. So save your questions for the Q&A, and we will take all the questions. So right now, I will allow our trainer, Mr. Avesh, to introduce himself, please. Thank you. Avesh, floor is yours.
Thank you, Sudhish. Um, I'm very happy about the fact that I've been given this opportunity by Sudhish from Lead Techno. So I am Professor Avesh Bornia. I do teach and I am also a consultant for multiple organizations wherein I do work very closely with technologies like Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, R, and Python. So I work predominantly on the data visualization and the spreadsheet analysis area, wherein we handle I mean, the dashboard creations. We also work very closely in terms like technologies with respect to SQL as well. So I've been working very closely with organizations that require simple services in terms of handling and working with dashboards on Excel, and also extensively with organizations that work with Power BI as well. So I have noticed over a period of time that people have been moving from Excel into Power BI. They've been transitioning, and also occasionally some of the organizations are also using uh, Tableau as well, depending on what kind of budget they're actually having. Apart from that, it is very important that organizations understand the need that they are working with data, and that's where I work very closely with them to explain to them that they need to migrate from one tool to the other depending on what kind of budgets they have, what kind of people they have. And then we also work very closely in training their existing cohort of users, and also helping them identify new potential in terms of what they can and bring into their workforce from the perspective of data analytics. So that's a brief about me. That's how I work with organizations, and also various universities across the globe in terms of imparting education with respect to business analytics and data analytics, and also working very closely with the data visualization tool. So, since organizations and institutions across the globe have realized that they need to impart education in terms of analytics, a lot of organizations and institutions have brought into their scope of the syllabus these various tools. And I'm sure even Lead Techno has identified these various tools and technologies that can really make a difference in terms of the way you can transition yourself into a career of data analytics. That's about me. I think I would be more than happy to work with you very closely in terms of uh, giving you real life examples and stuff. But till then, I think, Sudish, you can just take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Vish. Thank you very much. All right, just before I go ahead and start off this session, so how many of you are new to data analysis? Just raise your hand using the emoji, or you can just say yes. Anything is fine. Or you can say in the chat yes. How many of you are new? Sashank is new, Prab is new, and Venkatanand is new. Yes, Papri is new. Okay, wonderful. Syed, good going, guys. I like the way you're engaging. And many more. Monica is new. Okay. And what about Sudha, Sohail, Deepak, PV, Nikki, Barb? What about you guys? Amritpal is new. Okay, wonderful. So before I start, I see that, yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. So, well, I see that a lot of people are coming new to data analysis. Okay. I want you to understand this. This purpose of this webinar is to help you understand the awareness of the job market today. Okay, every year our job markets are evolving both in US and Canada. So it's very important that you get to understand, like, where you want to focus more. So that's very important. So just give me a minute over here. All right. Okay, we are good. And let me share my screen, and we're going to continue. And in the end, I'm going to ask, give you enough time for you to ask questions, and we'll take it from there. Okay. So before we go into this, we got to understand what is the demand of this career. It's very important that in my company especially, what we do is we only deal with careers which are in demand, where people can see yourself in a job in 0 to 4 months. All right, so we don't want to be study something, invest our time and money, and we don't want to be waiting forever. Okay, so data engineering is a good career, starts with data analytics. Okay, and I see that in US and Canada in 2025 it remains a strong and a growing career. I have started my career as a data analyst almost, I would say, 20 years back. But then the demand for data analysts has always been good, all right, across various sectors like technology, finance, healthcare, retail, and government. If you are new and new to, looking forward. to get a skill. Just mute yourself, please. Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So what I was trying to tell you is, if you're looking to start a strong career, data is here to stay. You know that, we have, most emerging technologies are coming up right now. AI is over here. We have generic AI right now. We don't know much tools to figure out what tools to be used in generic AI. But another 3 years, another 4 years, another 5 years, AI is going to be a very dominant driven engineering career it's going to be. So if you start a data analyst career right now, because for machine learning to train AI, you need to work with data. All right. So it's good. I'm hoping this session is going to be helpful for you. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, we are looking at a growth of 35% in data side, in data science, analytical jobs, all the way to 2032. And I also emphasize that we don't want to come around changing a career every 3 years or 4 years. It's very frustrating, right? So we want to make sure that we choose a career all the way for another 10 years, we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to show you how you can start your career as a data analyst and what are the various ways you can grow and what is the future scope of data analyst career and what are the skills you need. Okay. In Canada, the demand for data analysts is high and there is a shortage of skills professional according to the government of Canada data. Okay. And there is a high demand for data analyst, data scientists, data engineers, and across 2025, we definitely see a big growth in this industry. So how you want to decide if data analyst is a good career for you, it's very simple. You want to understand where the demand is high, supply is less. Okay, how you need to stand out is the conversation we're going to have today, right? So we will continue to learn. Just stay with me here. Thank you. So let's look into the industries which are hiring data analysts today. So, both sides, US and Canada, bigger organizations like Amazon, Microsoft, Capital One, PayPal, Facebook, Google, Bloomberg, Apple, Twitter, Walmart, and then we have JP Morgan, RBC, TD Bank, all the banks we're talking about, they hire data analysts. And we're talking about technology companies like Amazon. There's a lot of data analyst guys working on Amazon, LinkedIn, Uber, Google. There are a lot of technology clients hire. So it is never late to start a career in data analyst. Okay, so healthcare. Okay, Pfizer, Johnson and Johnson, hospitals, even the healthcare industry, both US and Canada, there is a strong demand for data analysts. One of my colleagues, he works in a hospital in downtown Sikits, and he's a data analyst.
Why don't you just finish what you say?
All right, so please mute yourself, guys. Thank you. So there is a lot of sectors which are using data analyst as a key contributor to the organization. But there is a key thing which you need to understand over here. Do you want to focus on the sector or on the data analyst tools? Can I ask you a question? Becoming a data analyst, does it open the door for all the sector? Do you want to be specializing on a domain skills or do you want to specialize on the tools as a data analyst? What do you think is the right answer? Anybody can answer. Doesn't matter you're right or wrong. Tools. Monica said tools. Very good. How many people say tools? Prabh said tools. Sudha said tools. Happy said tools. Very good. I like it. I like it. See, guys, this is one thing. I would never recommend you to go after a domain. I will not tell you, like, you know what, go after banking domain, insurance domain, retail domain, telecom. Thank you, Parita. I would never say that. The reason why is whenever there's a recession in domains, the first thing they do is they fire people. But the good thing is, so far the data analyst career is very critical and they don't fire. So you always want to focus when you start your career in data, you want to focus more on the tools. You don't have to worry about which domain. Having a data analyst skills will open the door for all the kind of domains for you. That's the amazing part. Okay, and you will also have jobs in government and public sectors as well, retail, e-commerce, consulting. So if you're looking to start a new career, data analyst is a good place to start. If you're already working for a huge organization, you want to grow inside the organization, data analyst is the amazing place. Because in my career, I started, as a young man, 20 years back, I was started as a sales guy, and I did not know how to grow in the career. And first thing I did was a data analyst. Back in the days, if you know SQL, you're all set, and reporting work, and that's where I started. And I used to have work from home 20 years back. That was my first work from home. Sorry, I got a little bit of cough. So I became manager from there. I became a project manager from there. And now I'm an IT consultant right now. But my career started from a data analyst. So it has never changed in 20 years. Even today, we're talking about data analysis as a key career skill to grow to become a manager. Even we can grow both sides, on the business side and also on the IT side, with data analyst skills. As you grow, as you go into the organization, you become a powerful manager when you talk with statistics, when you start with stats, when you identify the problem in the department with data, you can solve through historic data. So you are more powerful when you show the statistics, and there are various tools which can help you accomplish that, which a trainer will talk more on that. So let's continue to go, and I want to talk a little bit about how much do data analysts make. It's very important that you put your time into a career where you can really get your returns back, you know return on investments, I would say. Right, the salary of a data analyst factors, based on the industry you are. Somebody who's in oil and gas sector, somebody can make the maximum money, and it also depends on which city you belong. You can take 1 minute and have a look at the screen, and just try to process the cities and how much they are paying. If you are in the US, there are some bigger cities like San Francisco, New York, Seattle, Boston, Austin. They are trending in this salary range, as you see. And in Canadian cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary, Ottawa, you will see ranging from all the way from 70 to 65 minimum, to goes all the way to 110. So that's a huge gap, right? Where do I land between 75K to 130K? It all depends on what tools you learn, what tools you are proficient with. So based on my experience, I'm a career mentor. So based on the trainings what we offer, I can tell you, what it takes, what tools will take you to the next level, and we'll continue to talk about that. And you also have to understand that data analyst provides a lot of remote jobs. Okay, so if you are located outside this city, outside of GTA, or you're looking in a looking look, or you are in a city which is not in this list, you have nothing to worry about. Data analyst role is very powerful. You don't need to be in the physically in the office. Many times, some organizations, they want you to come in hybrid. Your chances of going into a remote job is almost 70%. 30% give and take, you want to give it to the companies who want to see you guys in the office, in the premises, as a hybrid. Okay, in US culture, there is hybrid. Remote jobs are pretty less because that's a culture, but in Canada you can see a lot of remote jobs. Okay, and regardless of the sector, so data analyst career will open the scope and the doors for multiple sectors for you. One, secondly, it will also open doors to remote jobs as well, and different industries as well. So the key factors which are affecting the salary is industries. So if you're working in a banking sector, your salary range might be different. If you're working in a telecom, it could be different. Insurance, they pay higher, insurance sector, so it could be different. If you're in a oil and gas sector, it could be higher. So what are the key skills required to become a data analyst? Is SQL, Excel, Python, Tableau, Power BI, R programming, and Python, which can boost the pay. Okay, and we're going to talk about it more on detail. We also teach Excel also. If you say, Sudesh, I don't even know Excel, don't worry. We are starting this training. We're going to start this training in a week's time, and it is going to be totally from ground up. We're starting from 0 to 100. We're going to go, and I will give you more details on that. There are some certifications like Google Data Analytics certification is there, AWS Cloud or any cloud certification is there. Microsoft Power BI is there, which will help you negotiate higher salaries, and we will guide you with the certifications also. So your location matters where you are. If you happen to be any other cities and you're not sure how to go about it, we will guide you on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Avesh. And Avesh, if you can take us through the curriculum, I'll make you the host. And if you can take us through the curriculum and show us what are the tools are we going to learn in this program, and talk about the practical side, because our guys want to have a hands-on training. This is a practical training. It's not a business analyst
Absolutely.
where we,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
Avesh, you can take it from here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
You're the host. You can.
Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen. Please do let me know if the screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Is the
It's
screen
visible now.
visible? Okay,
Yes, sir.
perfect. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the data analysis curriculum that has been designed by Leadtecno. Now, I think most of the part has already been covered in terms of what Leadtecno does, and Mr. Sudesh has already spoken about how the data analyst career is really going to help you to thrust yourself and move ahead into the field of data. Why has data been so important? Why is it in so high? Why is it so much of a demanding job? What are the kind of job roles and specializations that you can actually get into? I'll just kind of put a little bit of focus on this part. So when we talk about job roles and specializations, we are actually looking at a data analyst. That's what we are kind of looking at in terms of this particular course. Then you can even get into a business analyst role, a data scientist role, a data engineer's role, or a marketing analyst role. So these are some of the various areas that you can actually look at and focus from the perspective of job roles and specializations. So if you look at a data analyst's role, it is basically more or less related to collection, processing, and analysis of data to extract actionable insights. Now, the key word here is actionable insights. That's exactly what we're going to be learning from the perspective of how to get the actionable insights. Now, when we talk about actionable insights, it's a very simple term which has been kind of, hyped up a lot when we say actionable insights. It's about creating the dashboard. A lot of times I have interacted with a lot of professionals when they say that, okay, we've created the dashboard or we've created the report. Please let me tell you, that's just the beginning. It's about creating the report, creating the dashboard, and then interpreting it and also identifying insights and actionable insights from it, identification of various business metrics and KPIs. So I will talk a little bit about how we can actually do this using the tools that are available and what the curriculum of the entire course actually looks like. So obviously, career growth is something that's very, very instrumental, and that really makes a lot of, you know, difference in terms of the choice of this particular career option that you are planning to pick up. Now, when we talk about the required skill set, when we talk about what a data analyst really needs to look at, is we need to have a proficiency in tools like Excel, SQL, Python, R, and then data visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI. Now, there are options that you can actually look at. I will talk a little bit about what is the sequence of learning this, what is the learning path, what is going to be the uh, learning curve like when we talk about these tools. Okay, now apart from this, there are some important soft skills as well that we need to focus on, which is talking about working with presentation skills and storytelling skills, and also analytical thinking skills and problem solving abilities. So basically identifying a problem using data and then trying to solve it again using data is what a data analyst really needs to know. It also involves a little bit of statistical method understanding and machine learning concepts, but that is more on the AI and machine learning and data engineering area. That's not really going to be covered in the scope of this particular syllabus specifically, because that is more of an advanced career option that we are going to be looking at. And obviously, when we talk about data analysts, it opens up a complete new door for you in terms of global and remote opportunities, which has already been discussed. We have also looked at the salary potential in terms of how things can really, double up for you in terms of when you get into remote jobs, or even for that matter, when you are looking at some of the major cities of US and Canada. When we talk about the future outlook, again, I would reiterate the fact that Mr. Sudesh has already spoken about what is the scope in terms of the area that you can actually look at. So these are some of the tools. Now I'll just quickly delve into the details of it. But before that, I will talk a little bit about the learning path for a data analyst, or you can say a data scientist. Okay. Now, this is this is something that I came across years back on LinkedIn, and this I've kind of saved up for myself, and I use this a lot of times when I'm talking about data science and data analytics. If you see, the core is Excel. So you begin with Excel. If any of you here during the session feels, or if you're part of the session today, you feel you're not even very good with Excel, and you're completely a newbie to anything with respect to data analysis, or you've never heard the term data analysis or what exactly it does, it is seldom that I come across people in today's world who don't really know what ChatGPT is or what Excel is. I'm sure there would be very few of you who would actually not know it, but there's no harm. Obviously, you would be coming in from a complete new domain or a completely different domain, and you would want to be looking to switch careers owing to the fact maybe you're looking for a more long-term perspective, which already Sudesh has mentioned that this would be a career option that you could, kind of nurture and grow in for the next 10 years, 15 years. So I think back in 2015, I was attending the launch of SQL 2015, and that's when I interacted with one of the data scientists who was part of that particular presentation team. So I did just randomly put across a question to him because I was looking for a career option for one of my, closed relatives. He was back then planning to do engineering. And I asked him randomly, I mean, it was just a very random question that I put across to him saying, what do you think and where do you think is the data field or this entire area heading towards? Obviously, back then, the statement about data science being the most sexiest job had already been passed by Harvard Business Review, and people were already talking about the hype, and the hype had already been created. So he said that we are not looking at anything less than about next 25 to 30 years for this particular area going anywhere. So we've already reached about 10 years from back then, from that statement being made, and I have just seen the entire careers options that are available in this particular data area just growing. So coming back to the data science learning path, or the data learning path particularly, you start off with Excel, that being the core in mind, and this is also how we're going to keep moving ahead. After we've learned how to work with Excel, you can then choose to either move into SQL because it's very close to what Excel is. um, the only fact being that Excel is more of a spreadsheet tool. Okay, I can actually categorize this as a spreadsheet tool, whereas SQL is more of a backend database tool, or a DBMS tool, that is a database management system tool. Now, if you don't know some of these technical terms, it's absolutely fine. We are going to be any which ways demystifying most of the terms when we actually start working. And then you would be moving into a more easy to learn tool, that's Power BI, and immediately after that we will also be coupling it with Tableau. So the reason why we choose Power BI and Tableau both is because there are certain industries that work very closely with Power BI, there are certain industries that work very closely with Tableau. Now obviously both of them are head to head when it comes to actually looking at where they are in terms of competition. Now, back in 2019, just before the pandemic set in, Tableau was the market leader. But then, ever since, I think Tableau was taken over by Salesforce. And after Tableau was taken over by Salesforce, I'm not really blaming it, but then it did not really hold on to position number one, because then it was taken over by Microsoft's Power BI. Now, uh, there are certain organizations that have got obvious choices of Power BI being, uh, you know, option over Tableau, obviously owing to multiple reasons like cost, etc. but we'll not delve into the details of that because ultimately we're going to be learning both the tools depending on what kind of work we can actually do with. Now, I've already spoken a little bit about what SQL is. It is a DBMS tool. It's a backend tool. Now, let me tell you, a lot of organizations today store their data in SQL, and you need to learn SQL as a data analyst. The reason is because, as Mr. Sudesh mentioned, we are not learning tools that are pertaining specifically to domains. We are learning tools that are going to help us move between domains. And let me tell you, a lot of data analysts keep swapping domains. And yes, there are healthcare analysts, there are analysts that are working in the BFSI sector, there are analysts that are working in the retail sector. But there's no hard and fast rule that you have to specifically be into a particular domain or remain into a particular domain. Now, the important part here is when we talk about SQL, how important and why do we need to work with SQL? So let me tell you, after you finish your data analyst career, or as in your data analyst course, you can obviously switch over to data engineering roles. Now, data engineering has got the basic foundations in SQL. That's where you learn how to work with the data fundamentals. What are tables? How do you connect different tables? What is a schema, etc., etc. Okay, like what is the entire design of an entire database, etc. That's where SQL becomes very, very important for you. And then obviously there is Power Query, which is something that sits in between SQL and the programming languages. But let me tell you, Power Query is something which is a inbuilt data cleaning or data prep tool that exists within Power BI. Okay. Now, Power BI, again, as I mentioned, coming back to the fact that Power BI is a tool that is something which a lot of organizations use. The reason being it's a more holistic platform. It's more of a complete ecosystem which has got everything within it. Okay. So that is one of the reasons why people prefer Power BI. Also, another reason is Power BI is absolutely available for free, as in the desktop edition. Obviously, you do have other editions that are available as a paid version. Now, then comes the important aspect of the programming part. So there are two predominantly strong tools that are available, one being R and second being Python. Now, if you notice, this entire learning path requires you to learn it from inside out, obviously beginning with Excel and then moving into R and Python. Now, a lot of people start off with Python and R. The reason being that they feel they should look at something which is more difficult to learn first. It would require more time, etc. The reason why I focus on these tools in the latter half of the course is because by the time you're already through half the course, you are well versed and are very confident to work with the tools. Now, a lot of times people come with non-programming backgrounds or they don't have any kind of technical knowledge. So when it comes to a programming background, how many of you actually, let me just put a quick question. How many of you learned programming anywhere in your, course or anywhere down your educational background? Can you just give me a quick show of hands or in the chat if you can please put it across? How many of you actually have some programming background? Okay, great. So I think there's Monica, great. Sudha, very good. Okay, Amritpal, Papri. Okay, great. So if you have a programming, if you do have a programming background, I can see that it would be great for 1 minute. Just let me mute. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so I can see a lot of people do have a programming background. So that would really make a lot of difference when you step into the shoes of a data analyst, obviously. Now, the question about learning R and Python, again, we are focusing on both these tools because there are certain organizations that are still looking at R, but let me tell you, predominantly Python. So Python is more of a predominant force in the industry now. A lot of organizations are working with Python very closely for various purposes like website development and stuff. But we'll be focusing more on the data analyst and the data management part. Now, let me give you a quick run through the syllabus. So I think we do still have time before we can actually, I can hand it over to Mr. Sudesh. So I'll just quickly give you a run through in terms of the syllabus. So is my data analyst syllabus screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Great. Okay, thank you. So we will begin with the basics of Excel. Obviously, these courses are going to range between 9 hours to 6 to 9 hours for each of the technologies that we're going to be talking about. Now, they are going to be complete hands-on. I will be sharing a lot of data sets with you, a lot of material that you will be working with. To begin with, I will talk about the installation of the tools like Power BI and Tableau. I will not really focus on the installation of Excel, the fact being it's relatively something which is already inbuilt and something which is pre-installed in most of our laptops or machines. So when it comes to Power BI, Tableau, and the other tools, I will talk a little bit about the installation so that you know how to work with, how you can go about with installing and working with the tool. So for Excel, we will be using the latest updated Excel version. So we do have 2024, which is currently the uh, existing Microsoft Office version. You can have anything upwards of 2016. That would really help. 2021 would be great if you do have it. If you have 2024, nothing like it. Or if you've got Office 365, that would be fantastic to work with. But if you do not have it, that's absolutely fine. Anything above 2016 should really be great. Okay. So we'll start off with the basics of Excel, where we're going to talk about getting started with Excel, like, just kickstarting Excel. And then we'll talk about working with cells and sheets, the real nuts and bolts of Excel in terms of analyzing data. But before we actually talk about the analysis of data, we'll first talk about how do we handle data, because that's very important for us to understand. Then we're going to talk about how we can work with the page layout, the printing of data, because that is something when it comes to reporting, a lot of times people struggle with printing of large reports. So we'll talk about how to handle large amounts of data in Excel. We will then jump into the formulas and functions, which are the core of Excel. We'll talk about how to work with functions. We'll talk about how to work with data in terms of sorting and filtering, because that forms the core part of working with data and managing and giving the important or extracting the important area, extracting important insights from data. Okay, sorting and filtering, working with custom sorting techniques. A lot of times we don't have ready-made sorting techniques like sorting A to Z or chronological sorting. So that will be taken care of in terms of the custom sorting techniques. Then we'll talk a little bit about how we can extract or we can uncover hidden insights using a tool called as conditional formatting. We will talk about how you can disable people from entering incorrect or invalid data using data validation. We'll talk about how we can introduce ourselves to very quick analysis tools like Sparklines and obviously quick analysis in total as well. Then we will focus a little bit about what data visualization tools are available in terms of basic and advanced charts that are available as part of Excel's uh, toolkit. We will then dive into the advanced functions of Excel in terms of how to work with the logical functions, lookup functions. Now, this forms a very, very important part of the entire function explanation of Excel. We'll talk about XLOOKUP, which is more of a, I wouldn't say a completely new function, but yes, it is a fantastic alternative to VLOOKUP. So for those who already know Excel, they would know that a lot of times you struggle with a VLOOKUP when it comes to working with data, which is large, and also when you're working with data that comes in between your entire data set. So that's something that's where XLOOKUP really plays a very, very important role. Then we'll talk about how to work with conditional calculations. There are certain times when your job would require you to perform calculations based on certain conditions. Like, for example, you've been given a data set and you've been asked to find out the total of only a particular region, or you've been asked to find out the total revenue of a particular product category. That's when conditional calculations do come handy. And then obviously the most important feature of Excel, that is pivot tables. That's where we will talk about reporting tools, and we will then summarize everything with a capstone project, okay, which will be like the important part for more or less every single tool that we are going to be dealing with. Then we're going to talk about Power BI. So Power BI is a very, very important tool in today's scenario, where we are going to start off by working with Excel dashboards using multiple data sources, where we will introduce ourselves to a tool called as Power Query and Power Pivot, which is actually the predecessor of Power BI. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but before Power BI was introduced, we did have its predecessor or its precursor already part of Excel, which was called as the data modeling tools that were available. So we still have it as part of Excel. A lot of people still use it, but it's not something, obviously, with the advent of Power BI coming in, people don't really give a lot of, or they don't really put a lot of emphasis on Power Query and Power Pivot both. Then we'll talk about how to work with different data sources. That's the best part about working with Power BI. It gives you access to working with different data sources. So we'll talk about how to get started with a Microsoft Data Analytics using Power BI. Then we'll talk about preparing data. How do we get the data into Power BI from different sources? How do we clean and transform the data? And then finally load the data. Now remember, we are going to perform a process which is called as ETL, which is going to be extract, transform, and load. Now, before I move ahead, let me tell you that a lot of times we end up with working with reports which don't really give us a lot of satisfaction. The fact being that we have not really spent a lot of time on cleaning and setting up the data before we start analyzing it. That is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of data analysts make. And I don't know if you've heard of this, but 80% of the entire time of a data analyst goes into cleaning the data. Now, this is a statement that has been passed a lot of times. Some people even say this is about 75%, but something upwards of 75% or upwards of 70%. You're spending this much time in just cleaning the data. Now, I did come across a video wherein there was one very famous YouTuber. She had actually put up a video of how Power Query can solve, and this is a little bit kind of out of context, not really out of context of our discussion, but this is something which I wanted to kind of put across here. I want to actually explain to you how Power Query is such an important tool. So a lot of times people don't really work with the right tool. Okay, you're trying to solve a problem with the wrong tool, so that's where I'm kind of trying to put this into the right perspective. Now, there was a video that was put across by one gentleman who worked with Python extensively, and he showed a video of about 1.5 hour cleaning an entire data. And then there was a completely different video that was put up by some other YouTuber who did the same task using Power Query, which is actually a tool for prepping the data in Power BI. Within a span of 5 minutes, that entire cleaning was done in Power Query itself. So obviously Python has got its own pros and cons, and Power Query has got its own pros and cons. But if you know how to work with Power Query and Power BI very well, let me tell you, most of the job opportunities with minimum amount of coding experience actually is available in Power BI. So Power BI is a very, very important tool. We will talk extensively about how to handle data in Power BI. We will then talk about modeling data in Power BI. A lot of people don't really know what data modeling is. Is there anybody who knows what data modeling is and can just explain it very quickly in one sentence in the chat, please, so that I can get some clue on where we stand? Anyone? Have you ever heard of what data modeling is? Okay. So I think there has been no response from anyone, so no problem. So let me quickly explain to you what data modeling is very quickly here. Data modeling is more or less adding some additional information or bringing some more information into your data which does not really exist in the original data. How that is to be done and how do we handle it is going to be discussed during the training sessions. So we will be learning through live case studies, and we're going to learn through some of the data sets that are available. Okay. visual representation of data like a blueprint. Kind of, yes, Monica, that is to a certain extent right. Yes, it does talk a little bit about the visual representation of data, but yes, there are multiple aspects of data modeling. One of them is a visual representation of data in terms of a data model that you create in terms of what kind of tables you're dealing with, whether it's a multi-table data set, whether it's a multi-source data source data set that you're dealing with. Like you may have data coming in from an SQL server, you may have data coming in from a CSV file, or you may have data coming in from three different tables in one Excel spreadsheet, which acts more like a database for you, because a lot of times organizations don't give access to uh, SQL schema or SQL data for various privacy purposes or security purposes. So that's where you need to learn how to deal with different types of data sources. Okay, and then we'll talk about how to work with Tableau, which will be very similar to what we are going to be working with in Power BI. But yes, there are going to be some similarities and certain differences in terms of the tools. I will highlight some of the differences and similarities of the tools, where we're going to learn how to work with common views in Tableau. We're going to talk about how to work with calculated fields, working with geographical and geospatial data. Again, working with multiple sources of data and then creating dashboards and stories. So in both these tools, storyboarding is a core context that we need to look at. Again, the capstone project being uh, central to the entire uh, syllabus of that particular topic or that particular tool. That's what we're going to learn. Whatever tools we have learned, we're going to put them to practice using the capstone project. Then comes SQL, which is more or less the RDBMS tool that we're going to be learning. Now, let me tell you, for a data analyst, these four tools, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL, are good enough for you to actually take a leap into the career of a data analyst. Now, when I was designing this entire syllabus, we did have, you know, I had a different set of thought process in terms of including Python and R, and that's when I also kind of looked at the option, when should we really introduce Python and R, because for a data analyst, you don't really do a lot of programming specifically, but of late, certain organizations have also been asking for skills that you need you to move one step ahead and learn a programming tool. Okay. So first, let me just talk a little bit about how we're going to go about with this particular tool, and then I'll talk about Python and R separately. So we're going to learn how to work with a tool called as SQL, where we will learn something called as the Transact SQL, which is a TSQL. Now, SQL stands for, yeah. So can anyone give me a quick, uh, you know, what does SQL stand for? So how many of you actually know what is the full form of SQL? It is also pronounced as SQL. So does anybody know what does SQL stand for? Structured Query Language. Absolutely right. Perfect. Great. Thank you. So Swarna, Ronak, Monica, yes, it stands for Structured Query Language. Swarna, it is Structured Query Language, not Sequential Query Language, but that's absolutely fine. We're all learning here. Great. So yes, when we say it's a structured query language, it basically means writing a query or writing a question in a program that helps you to identify or helps you to extract data from a database. Now, what is a database and how do you deal with a database? How do you handle the schema or basically the design of a database? All that will be discussed in working with SQL. So that's like an introductory session that we would be having. Then we'll talk about how to deal with multiple tables, how to work with joins, how to write queries within queries. Okay, so subqueries, concepts like subqueries. We'll talk about some of the built-in aggregator functions like sum, count, etc., average, etc. And we'll talk about working with how do we modify data. So I've just given you a crux of what this tool is going to be working with. Then we will move into Python. So Python and R will have very similar uh, setup in terms of the course structure. We will learn first how to work with this is going to be more or less an introductory setup. So coming back to the point, when we actually were designing the syllabus, we wanted you to get a kickstart into the tools Python and R, obviously depending on what your further I would say interest would be. Would you want to go into more of the AI, onto the AI ML side, or would you want to be in the, if you are planning to in the near future wanting to move into AI ML, obviously having a quick grasp on, or a good grasp on the tool of Python and R would be really helpful. So again, here it's going to be more of an introductory point where we're going to talk about how to set up the entire environment, how to work with various data structures in Python. So we need to learn DSAs, or data structures and algorithms. We will talk about what are conditional statements and loops within the tool, string handling in Python, then what is regex expressions, how do you deal with data. So expression handling is now being incorporated into other tools as well, because a lot of times when we talk about, so when we say expressions, we are basically talking about dealing with a lot of unstructured data and handling that. Then we'll talk about two different libraries, an introduction to the two different libraries, one being NumPy, which more or less deals with numerical data, statistical analysis, etc. And second is Pandas, which basically stands for the working with the panel data, or you can say data which is pertaining to large data sets put into one. And then finally, the capstone project to handle these particular, or understand how you can actually put these techniques and these particular concepts to uh, good use. And obviously, the similar structure with R, but the only difference is the names of the libraries would be different. Now, when we talk about libraries in these two tools, what these libraries actually mean, they basically mean certain ready-made functions and certain ready-made commands that are available for you to directly use and work with. So let me give you a very quick understanding of Python and R, why they've become so popular. Just the last two things that I'll talk about, and then I will hand it over to Sudesh. Um, Now, I know when we talk about Python and R, we talk a lot about technicalities and a lot of technical knowledge being involved. Now, let me tell you, the learning path for these two tools are, no doubt, it's a steep learning path. It is going to be uh, a little, kind of difficult for people to kind of get used to it. Only the reason being that it's more of a CLI setup. But believe me, it's a fantastic tool to learn, because with one single line of, or with one single command, you can actually accomplish a lot of work which can be done with multiple steps in different tools. So that's one very big advantage of using tools like Python and R. And believe me, it's not as difficult as people do mention. It's very simple. Once you get the hang of it, the basic concepts are clear, then it's just a cakewalk for you. And the entire syllabus, in fact, itself is going to be a cakewalk, with me being there as your mentor. And I would really appreciate the fact that you come in and put up your questions. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of questions after we've discussed this entire syllabus. I'm sure you would be having a lot of thoughts in your mind. So before I kind of invite any questions or anything, I would hand over the floor back to Sudesh, and then maybe he can take up the queries, etc. later on. Yes, Sudesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Avesh sir. Thank you so much for taking us through the whole detailed curriculum. I really appreciate that. And I'm just gonna reclaim the host here. And so, guys, how are you doing so far? Give me a thumbs up. Anybody feeling overwhelmed so far? Papri, Prab, Sudha, Sohail, Barb, OPME Mom, Happy Patel, nice name. Deepak, Ahmed, Nikki, Mayank, Prabha, Amritpal, Amrit, Dora, Paul, Parita, Eugene, Neha, Venkatanan, Janisha, Raja, Shugam, Suchita, Ronak, Monica, Swarna, Syed, Asif. How are you guys doing so far? All doing good? Okay, great. Now let's continue to talk on this, and I'm going to make things easy for you. and Avish sir did an amazing job explaining the curriculum. Guys, I want to tell you something. We have a steep learning curve, but what it takes for us to get into the job, those are the kind of conversations we're going to have from now. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let me make it a full screen over here. So now, I do want to tell you, I'm a market expert, been in the technology space and very familiar with Canada and US job market for a while, and we really understand what it takes, what are the tools we are in high demand, what it takes for you to get into the job, all right? So now, there are the reason why you want to consider data analyst to start off kick off a career, because data is the foundational knowledge for a strong techno-functional role. It's a high demand career. As a data analyst, when you start, if you're good with SQL and Python, you can become a data engineer, a cloud data engineer. Okay, we also provide cloud data engineering too. A couple of days back, one of our student Roger, he became got a job in TELUS as a cloud data engineer, and his first starting salary is 120,000, right? So, but he has with no prior experience. Okay, but it all depends on where are you at, each of you at with your skill level. So this is not a blanket approach. I'm going to be coaching and mentoring the people who are joining this batch one-on-one with the help of Avesh sir, and we're going to continue to upskill yourself. My goal is over here to make sure that you guys see yourself in a job. Guys, this is not a certification training. This is a company where we focus on people getting a job. That's why if you see my reviews in Google, we got a 5-star rating because the folks who got a job, they leave us a review over there. And the folks who studied with us, they're very happy with our support and services. Okay. The range of salary starts with data analyst, and from data analyst, you can move towards data engineering, or you can go into data science, more on the cloud say, or you can become a cloud engineer in a cloud platform like AWS or Azure or GCP, or you can go into AI engineering. All of this requires a foundational data analysis skill set, okay? And this skill set is going to be good for you to kickstart this long-term career where you don't have to worry about shifting to another career, okay? There is a fast career growth, as I said. Back in the days, people will become data analysts. They'll remain in a data analyst for 3-5 years, and then suddenly they'll feel like it's a very comfortable job, right? People get comfortable, so they don't want to leave it. So people will come back and then they become data scientists. Today, more than data scientists, I would say you might want to consider moving towards cloud space. And with this training, I also offer one more training free. There are some old students over here, they know about me very well. I offer one more training as a compliment for you. Wherever you feel yourself upgraded, if you're really good with SQL and Python and you become a data, you come back, I can train you for data engineer for free. You don't have to pay for it. Okay. So I do offer one of the trainings free for you where you can take advantage. So all of our students stay in touch with us in one way or other. Okay. Data analyst career will give you an opportunity to work in a top company. It's a full-time job. You can go full-time. If you go towards more on the item, more towards programming side, like Python or data engineering side, or data scientist side, you can get more contract jobs, but the chances of getting full-time is very high as a data analyst. Okay, and the average wait time to move into data analyst is at 0 to 4 months. It again depends on where your locations are, and we can help you with that. The job titles you're looking for is data analyst, business intelligence analyst, machine learning analyst, financial analyst. So to become an analyst, you like to be an analyst, all right, or business analyst, financial analyst, or whatever analyst. Data skills is the foundation. So that will lead you to become a manager. Okay, so that's how you want to take in, and we will continue to mentor you about this. Okay, now talking about this, so this is about the webinar, but we are actually starting a training next week where we are really training people to become data analyst. So there are some phases which you need to know. Phase 1, it's an in-class practical training, which you are with Mr. Vesher, and you're learning all the tools, Excel, SQL, Tableau, Power BI, R, and Python. Coming to that point, do we need to know all these tools to become a data analyst? The answer is no. Like Avishar said, if you're good with Excel, SQL, Power BI, that's enough skill to become a data analyst. Okay, and but R and Python, we also want to train you because we don't want to limit your learning. There are some guys who come with programming skills, who can go towards R and Python. You can also learn. You never know, you might fall in love with it because not necessarily you need to know that. To become a data engineer, yes, you need to know SQL and Python at like 10 being the best. If you're at 6, you can definitely look into move yourself towards data engineers. But on a data analyst career, you got to understand no matter what we train, okay, you learn 99% on the job. Okay, but our job is to make sure that with the help of Avishar, we're going to give you a lot of practicals. You're going to do a capstone project. You're going to be very hands-on for you to before going to the job market, which give you a lot of confidence. Having a knowledge on data tools like SQL, Tableau, Power BI gives you a lot of sense of confidence and accomplishment because you got a critical tools knowledge you have to hit the job market, and that will give you a sustainable career for you. And after phase 1, phase 2 is you got to finish the capstone project for you to earn your certification, and then we will be working on your resume and we'll be helping your LinkedIn prep. You got to understand there is something called rejection criteria. How many people know what is rejection criteria? Does anybody know what is rejection criteria while applying jobs? Anybody? Can somebody tell me what is rejection criteria? Have you seen when you continue to apply for jobs, you got rejection emails, a lot of rejection emails? Have you noticed that? Yes. Give me a thumbs up. Right? So we have an in-house marketing team. Our resumes are ATS friendly. Okay, when you follow a marketing method, your rejection criteria will reduce by 50%. Okay, and when you become a recruiter, we will guide you on how to do that. Okay, so all your resumes are techno-functional, and we will see some of you guys who are really faring well, and I already see that you're coming out very good with SQL and Python. We can give you an upgrade. Depends on where you are. Okay, depends on how proficient you are. Okay, so this is not a a group mentor. This is case by case. Individually, we deal with people over here. So you will be doing your completing a capstone project, get yourself certified. Then interview questions will be provided to you, and then we engage in resume marketing services. So what we do in the resume marketing, these are the one of the most critical things, right? In a data analyst role, you don't have to show much of the experience. We just have to show some transferable experience, your capstone projects, what tools you have, and then we can go into the job market. There are two things. We will also market you, okay, based on where you are in US and Canada, and you will also apply in jobs. We don't apply jobs in LinkedIn and Indeed and Glassdoor. We don't do that. And that's a part where you do it. What we do over here is we deal with vendors. We create accounts on vendor portals where clients and vendors come asking for your profile. So we will make sure that your profile is lucrative, and we will make sure that your resume moves towards the demand area. So that's what we do in our placement services. Okay. So now coming to the data analyst bootcamp details, the program is starting 8th of April, which is next Tuesday at 8 p.m. EST. We operate in EST time zone. That's the only time zone we operate, and 8 p.m. EST is what is our training times on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Avishar, Saturday is fine, right? Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, just confirming with you.
Yeah, I think we can do the 3 days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Okay. Any change, let me know. But for
Yeah.
now, we are going with Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening, 8 p.m. EST. And the total duration of the training, you're looking at 2 months. Give and take might take 1 or 2 weeks if you are taking more time to complete the capstone projects, more doubts. If you're spending more time in practical, give and take, you might want to take 2 more weeks over there. And then the program fees for folks in Canada is $1,700, and for the folks in US, it's $1,120. And right now, you can also ask for payment installment options too. We do offer 3 payment installments. So the folks who are looking value in it and looking to join, they just need to make a small payment of $500, and they can pay the rest in 2 installments. Okay, so that's how we are looking at it. And the good news is How many of you would like to know the promotional offer? How many are excited to know the promotional offer? Is there anybody want to know the good news? Okay, there's only one person. So Venkat is excited. Anybody else? Ronak is excited. Okay. Prab is excited. Okay, great. Swarna is excited. Okay. Sayed, thank you so much, guys. The good news is, I will be talking to you guys one on one, okay, because I want to know you and your interest in moving to this career. So you will be expecting a phone call from me or one of my team members who will schedule a call for me, and I will be talking to you one on one because there are many things you may not be able to ask here, which is okay, but you can ask me one on one and I'll be clearing the doubt to you and I'll give you a clear cut plan how to become a data analyst. How to become your question on what do I do after data analyst? How much salary I'm expecting? How do I go about in this today's job market? All of those questions I will be detail explaining you in a one-on-one conversation because it's different for everybody. It's not the same. So let's come to the good news. So I'm taking registrations after this. If you're in US, you make payment by PayPal. If you're in Canada, you can make payment by, if you're making a credit card payment, you can make by PayPal. Or if you're making a bank transfer, you can do e-transfers as well, which is fine. You just have to make an initial amount of $500 and start. The good news is the people who are registering in the next 3 days, instead of 1,700, they're gonna pay only 1,500. Sounds good? That's a $200 discount, which I'm offering for Canadian guys, and for US guys, instead of 1,200, you're paying 1,000, right? So that's a $200 discount only for the folks who are registering in the next 3 days. Okay, with that said, I just want to share the good news to you guys. I do want to tell you the package and the support which you are offering in today's training market. If you go out there, I can bet you this program is nothing less than $2,500 to $3,500, okay, which we are making it extremely affordable for you because we want to make sure that it is a good value for the buck. All right. So now I will open the floor for Q&A. You guys can post your questions and we can start asking you questions. You got right now. Okay, so we got it's all right. We still have time, so you guys can start shooting in questions. Whoever has the questions, please raise your hand or using the emoji. We will start reaching you one by one and clear your questions for you. Yes, guys, open the floor now. You can ask questions. Go ahead.
Well, I've got tons of questions, but can we use mic instead of typing?
Yeah, you wanna yeah, go ahead and ask your question. That's okay.
Okay. First question is, I missed when you guys started this session, so I want to know the teacher and the guy, whoever going to give us instructions, how many years experience he have in this field, and as well as in teaching.
Okay, sure. This question.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Shahid, for that question. Yes, so basically, I do have an experience of about 16 years in teaching. I have been teaching at various universities, and also I've done corporate trainings, and I'm a consultant with organizations which do handle a lot of data. So I've got
Within
about in
this
total
wi-
15
s-
years.
within the same field, I mean data
Yeah,
field.
within the same field. Yeah, data field. Yeah.
Got it. And I have a question like this sequel. I did took class, but as a married man as well as doing job, taking out
Mm.
3 hours a day, it's not easy. Of course, you use the right term. It's steep path. Of course, 100% agree with you. So is there any way to learn SQL, like mathematical equations you can practice and you can learn? So do you have any strategy for that?
So basically, when we talk about SQL is more about handling data. It's
Yeah,
not just about handling mathematical equations, as you
I
just
know.
mentioned. Yeah.
I know.
So when we talk about handling data, we are actually looking at how we can create databases, how we can work with tables, and then obviously learning SQL from the perspective. So I'll give you an example of why SQL is used in the industry.
Yeah.
Now, as an analyst, so I've worked with the BFSI sector very closely. I was working with Standard Chartered Bank, and that's where I realized that a lot of people in the organization depend a lot on database administrators. Whenever they needed data, they had to write an email and say, okay, we need this report, we need this report. But now, with people knowing how to work with SQL, they can obviously write queries and they can extract whatever data they want And obviously, it makes things very much easy as a data analyst for you to pull out data, because as an analyst, you're going to be working with different domains, and you
Mm-hmm.
will be tasked with different, requirements from the business users. Like the business user will say, I need a dashboard on a particular region. Now, obviously, every time going back and forth between the data team and trying to get data from them, using emails and writing emails to them is going to be
Mm-hmm.
difficult. But if you know the knack of writing queries and then pulling the data, it would really help. So SQL is more about knowing what kind of data you want to work with and working with strategies to extract data from your data set. That's what it is.
Techniques and formulas.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, it's difficult, but yes, it is handy. I'm just to give you my background. I'm in Canada, and
Mm-hmm.
of course, Sudesh, and you're 100% correct. I have seen people changing their lives. They were earning 50K or 45K a month, oh sorry, a year, and now they are getting 80 plus. 80 is the minimum right now over here in Canada, but USA, of course, it's more. The thing is, people over here, most of the institutes are from India, but the ones which are from here as well, and USA, after completion of this project, they provide hands-on on projects, and for that they train you, and then they build up your resume and show that you have worked in the field with them or with their known companies for 2 to 3 years or maybe 4 or 5 years. Yesterday I got call and he said I can provide you 7 to 8 years experience, and then you will be placed in the market by them as a senior data analyst. So do you guys have anything something like that? Because if we going to complete this course, so we have to compete in the market. So like you said, somebody got tell us job for 120K. I can guarantee you, if you're not showing that he had previous experience for 3 4 years, he cannot get 120K. So do you have anything like that you guys
Syed,
providing?
so
Yeah.
we will have that conversation offline because it's not the same approach for everybody. Some of
Okay.
you are into junior role, so we will have a one-on-one call. And on the placement area, it is going to be a separate conversation for everybody. Your transferable experience, I need to know what is your background on everything. So
Yeah.
since on the short of time right now, we cannot go into detailed conversation on that part. Okay, so but you will hear from me, and we're going to have a one-on-one call, and I'll give you a detailed plan on how to
Okay.
transition into the job market. Is that sound good for you, Syed?
For sure. Last question from my side. Uh,
Yeah.
do you guys like you will be helping us to get job as well?
We don't assure you a job guarantee. We
Yeah.
provide you marketing services, and you
Uh-huh.
also apply the job. Okay, it's a teamwork. Okay, you work
Mhm.
together and try to get interview for calls for you. It's a teamwork. So we only need 1 or 2 interviews. By third interview, people get into job. So we
I
don't
got it.
assure you got job placement guarantee. We don't
But
do that.
but
Yeah.
you help.
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay,
So,
got it.
and I tell you what, that's a very good question. Your questions are very dynamic and reasonable, Sayed. So, marketing, why I do that, services, why are we offering that is because I've noticed that in the current job market, there's a lot of, rejection criterias,
I
which
know.
can people's resume, and when you keep on getting resumes rejected, it's very demotivating. It's very frustrating for people, and for all, applying job itself is a frustrating part. On top of that, if you're getting rejected, it's not helping us anywhere. So we have marketing team guys. These guys
Hmm.
are having 15 to 20 years of staffing experience. They are
Okay,
very proficient with US and Canada environment. Okay,
got it.
and so what we do is, like I said, we are not applying jobs in LinkedIn and Indeed. Okay,
Hmm.
in LinkedIn you'll find the most fake jobs.
Got it.
Okay, because it's not calibrated. Okay, but
Okay,
but Indeed, Glassdoor, they're all great tools to apply because they kind of screen the fake jobs. But LinkedIn is like become a Facebook nowadays. Okay, but
got it.
it's only for you to showcase your skills and advertise yourself. But we don't apply there. So applying for the jobs you are also doing, and there will be a consultant who will be assigned to you. Okay, and we only do that once you finish the training, once your resume is ready, once your LinkedIn is ready. Okay, and then we go. But the good part about data analysis, we don't have to worry about certification. Once you finish the training, You can get to understand the case studies, interview questions, and boom, we can go into the job market.
Got it.
Okay.
And mock interviews as well?
Yes, sir. It's all
Got it.
included, and Avish will be planning out for you. And then,
Tha-
as long as you're able to solve the data sets
Got
while
it.
practicing different tools, you are good. And
Mm.
confidence comes only by solving it. One thing I've learned in my training is, especially in data analytics, you're going to do mistakes, and the goal is it's okay to get mistakes, but you need to solve it and fix those data issues to move on. That's when you get confidence better and better. Right.
Oh, okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sudesh and Avish. Thank you for answering.
You're welcome. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
You're most welcome.
And who else has got question? Any other questions? Papri, Prab, Sudha, Suhail, Barb, Happy, Deepak, Mayank, Prema, Vivekanand, Amrit, Eugene, Monica. Any other questions?
Okay, if no one have, I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
You guys going to teach SQL or MySQL?
So we'll be working with Microsoft SQL. That's the
Microsoft.
one. Yeah, the Microsoft tool. Obviously, they are very similar to each other. The syntax differs a lot. It
Interface
doesn't
is
really.
different.
Yeah, the
In-
only the interface is different. But I'll
Got
be
it.
working with Microsoft, the developer edition. Yeah.
Got it. Microsoft. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. And I do have two messages in the chat here. One from Monica. I'm a student in cloud data management here in Canada. Am I eligible for this course? So, Monica, I'm hoping that I want to know more about what you have learned in cloud data. So based on that, I can give you further advice, because if you already studied cloud data, then I would recommend you to move towards Azure Cloud Data Engineering. Okay, job market is very good for that, and we can discuss that. And if you all, so I want to know what are the tools you know already, right, Monica? So what are the tools you know? Monica, you there? What are the tools you know already? Yeah, I need to know that to give you more advice on it, but I can tell you, I didn't start anything yet right now. So okay, well, if you're not started, then this is where you start. Data analyst is the career where you start. Okay, so you start here and you get proficient with SQL and Power BI and Tableau. That's enough to get you started. But if you pick up Python on the go, then I can suggest you cloud engineering. Okay, Monica? Did I answer your question? Thank you.
Sudesh, there is a
Yes,
question
sir.
in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Swarna.
yeah. I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
Difference between data science and data analysis. Avish, you want to take it or shall I take this?
I think you can take it. Absolutely fine.
Okay, no problem. So Swarna, see, these roles are definitely sounds the same, but they are data scientist role is very dynamic role. At a data analyst role, you are solving business problems too. Okay, you're researching the historic data sets and you're trying to understand why this product is not working. How can you fix a metric? Doing research, identifying what are the 20% of the factors which are affecting 80% of the performance, right? Those kind of researchers, reporting, effective reporting, data cleansing. You are working in day-to-day activities pretty much on more on the making sure the back-end data reporting side, you're working, on that. On the data scientist side, it's very different. Data science guys are pretty much on the right hand of the directors and vice presidents, okay? What they really do is, they solve business problems, with the help of data. They're not into reporting much, okay, but they are more into, solving the business problems with the help of the historic data. They can forecast the data, okay, based on the prior data, like past data. They can forecast how the quarter is going to look like. How many customers do you think you're going to come back to them, and those kind of predictive analysis what data scientists do. But like I said, data scientist role is a very dynamic role. They really help organizations to move towards future with data sets. They can give you right statistics. They can tell you which product to focus more, which product, because companies, they don't know, many times they don't know what is the hero product, they don't know what is the zero product. But data analysts with the data sets, they can give a good statistics of how the trend analysis is, which product has worked better for you, which has got more reviews for you, where did you get more revenue from, those kind of data, and they give you suggestions based on that. So that's a role. Yeah, nowadays there's a lot of AI is booming. But the good thing about Swarna, about AI is we only have generic AI right now, and we don't even know what tools to use there. Okay, so we don't have to panic much on that. So I would definitely advise you, if you're going into data side, you are first to if you're kickstarting a new career, then it's important for you to get comfortable with the regular data analyst tools like SQL, Tableau, Power BI, and all those things. Okay, and if you are going towards AI engineering, then before that you want to start understanding the cloud space. You want to get Azure cloud certifications, or you want to do GCP, whatever is your organization is using, and then understand master a particular cloud platform as a cloud engineer, and then you move towards AI engineering. But we don't have to freak out right now. Okay, Swarna, did you
Can I
answer
just
your
add a
question?
little thing to
Yes,
this?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So, Swarna, when you actually talk about data science and data analysts, let me tell you, when it comes to the entire data pyramid, when it comes to working with different profiles, data scientists are the ones who sit at the apex of the entire data pyramid, and data analysts are the people who are just beginners into the field of data. So, becoming a data analyst is the stepping stone to becoming a data scientist. Now, when we talk about levels in handling data, data scientists are the ones, as Mr. Sudesh rightly mentioned, they are the ones who do a lot of heavyweight lifting using tools like Python. So their focus is completely about data engineering. Their focus is about managing data pipelines. Their focus is about handling. So they sit between, what you can say, their role is involving three important pillars. The first is understanding business domains, the second is understanding maths and stats, and the third is understanding computer programming. Now, a data analyst role is not as heavy in terms of maths and stats as it is when you come to data science. So when you talk about data science, you're going to learn uh, the four important areas like linear algebra, you're going to work with statistics, you're going to work with discrete maths, and you're going to work with calculus. These are the four areas for maths and stats. And then you're going to work with programming, which is going to involve Python, where you're going to talk about um, machine learning, AI, deep learning, all these various libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Scikit, then Seaborn, Matplotlib. These are all the libraries that you're going to be working with. So not making it too difficult for you to understand. If you just look at it in terms of a very simple language, it's more about uh, data science roles are more math and stat heavy when it comes to comparing them with the data analyst's role. Obviously, the beginning is going to be the same, data analyst, and then you move ahead. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful explanation, Avish. Appreciate that. Any other questions, guys? Just so you know, I know a lot of people registered for this webinar, and quite a few people were not able to come. If you feel you come late, if you missed the session, don't worry. We will be sending the webinar recording to all of you guys, and once we upload that to our YouTube channel, and I will be calling you guys too. While I wait for questions, I'm gonna post my phone number here. You guys can save it. Okay, so I'll be calling you from this number, so don't think it's a spam. So this is my number. You guys can take a minute and save this number. Okay, and while we wait for more questions. Any other questions, guys? Anything else that you want to know? Regards to the transition plan, how to get to the job market, I will be talking to you guys one-on-one. But any other questions on the curriculum? No? Okay. All right. So yes, yes, Swarna. Class is from the basics. It will start from Excel. Yeah. Yeah. Another 4 more minutes, guys. We will close it. Any other questions?
Hi, Sudesh.
Okay, then.
This is Sucheta.
Yes, Suchita, go ahead.
I
You
have
have
a question. So the classes duration are 2 to 3 hours on Tuesday on 3 days?
We do max 2 hours, 1.5 or 2 hours, right, Avish sir? Per session?
Yes, we'll be doing 2 hours per session.
2 hours per session. Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
sorry. So is there a name of this? Do you like run an institute or something? Or like is the program name
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, this company
yeah.
name is Leadtecno. You can look it up online. Leadtecno.
Leadtecno. Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
I will post that in the group just in case.
That would be great. Thank you.
Post that you can look into. Prab, can you explain your question? How will you offer support to build portfolio? What do you mean portfolio? Can you elaborate your question, please? Real world projects. Avish, can you take this question, please? I mean, helping with real world projects.
Yeah,
Is
so
this
when we talk about real world projects, we will be talking about the capstone projects, obviously, in terms of handling data, in terms of whatever we've learned in a course or in a tool, how we are going to be utilizing those skills to actually complete a real world project. That's what you're looking at, Prab?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that we will be doing. Don't worry about that.
Thank you, Prab.
And I have another question. Are we going to learn SQL, Python, and R from basics to advanced?
Yes, not advanced, but it's going to be an introductory session because the advanced part is going to be covered when you actually move into an AI or ML course. Is that right, Sudesh?
Yes, sir.
And that's for R and Python, but you're going to be teaching in details for SQL, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll be working in data sets, Prab, to practice that. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll be writing queries from scratch in terms of how to create a database, how to create a table within a database, because that's exactly what you need to know.
Okay. Thank you.
These are hands-on, which you can also use for your resume as a capstone project. You can use it too. You can also do that. What is the total number of hours for this course? We are looking at give and take 2 months of training. I can't commit you on the number hours because it goes a little more. It can be less or more, but I would say two months should be fine. But it can spill over a week or two at the maximum. Just so you know. Sudha, if I'm answering your question. So each tool, when you learn, you're going to have a practicals for each tool. You need to have a hands-on on each tool, whichever we're going to learn every week. Thank you. Welcome, Sudha.
So I have a
Okay,
question
guys.
again.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Sujita. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry about that. So just in case if I miss any class, are there any recordings? Those are going to be provided, or
Yeah.
how does that
You're
work?
going to have access to our LMS.
Okay.
Okay. And you'll register yourself. Once you join, you'll register. All the recordings will be uploaded there. You have access to the recordings for 6 months.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
After the class, 6 months, you'll have access to LMS. So if you miss a session, don't worry. Our administrators, LMS will send you notification. Recordings will be there. You can always log in and access all the recordings from day one.
Good to know. Thank you. That's great.
So you guys provide server access. Do we need a server access over here, sir? I think it's an open source platform for most of the tools, right?
Yeah, so these are all open source tools. We don't really need server access. I mean, when you say server access, Swarna, what do you actually refer to in terms of server access? Because Excel is a standalone tool, Power BI is a standalone tool. We do not provide any licenses to you. Everything needs to be procured by you. But then most of them all are available for free. Tableau Public is what we're going to be using. Power BI Desktop is what we're going to be using. We are not covering the service part of Power BI, because that is not something that we're going to be looking at. When it comes to SQL is available as a developer edition. R and Python will be covered using Anaconda, which is again a free distribution of R and Python. So I think more or less all the tools that I've mentioned are going to be available free of cost. You just need to download and start working with it.
Great question, Swarna.
Thank
All
you.
right. Great question. Any other questions, guys? What I can also do is probably by tomorrow morning, we will send you the access to the recordings of this session. Plus, you will also get a form in that, okay? And you can leave a question there and you're interested to join and all those stuff. You will have a small form. It'll only take like a minute for you to fill it up. And so that we know who are the guys who are interested to join. And if you have any questions, you can always email me back and I can lead that question to Avish sir and he can get back to you. Okay? All
Hi,
right,
Sudesh.
guys.
Hi, Sudesh. One question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Go ahead.
You
Go
there?
ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay.
please go
So
ahead.
my question is, when you guys going to have the live sessions, those recordings will be available afterwards or no?
Yes, sir. You'll be available for you. It will be sent out to you as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
After every session, we have administrators who
Yeah.
will, you will be asking, you will be reaching out to them for any kind of access issues or whatever. But automatically after every session, next day, you will have access to the recording.
Via email or WhatsApp groups?
We will create a WhatsApp group for the
Perfect.
team,
Perfect.
but you will
Perfect.
also get full access to the recordings too. You'll get
Awesome.
notified when it
Thank
is
you.
available.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Okay. Goodbye.
All right. So, guys, on the interest of time, the session was planned for 1 hour, but we went for 1 hour and 30 minutes. You guys been an amazing audience. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's an important decision for all y'all. So I will be calling you guys and I'll have a detailed discussion and I'll tell you how to transition as a data analyst. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you, Avish sir, for explaining everything. And I'll get in touch with you soon. Thank you so much, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.